this project. Okay, is my screen visible to all?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we are supposed to do with the modify tab. And in modify tab, we have so many tools. We have create tool, we have measure tool, we have view tool, we have modify tool, we have geometry tools, clipboards is there, and properties is also available basically. Okay. And the first one is the modify itself. So if I click on modify, it enables me to select the objects. Okay, so whichever object I wanted to select it, I can just click it and it will select that particularly object. Okay, so that's modify tool. Now, supposingly, if I selected this window, next to this select tab, we have these properties tab basically there, where it shows me the type property, means the entire type parameter basically there. If this is a window, so it's telling me it says M sliding double window, which is of 1200 by 1200. It is a wall enclosure by hosted. That's the material finishes for the exterior frame, exterior trim, interior trim, and the glass material. And that's the dimension of that window. So the width is of 1200, the height is of 1200. The rough height with including the framing, that is of 1215. The rough is also the same, width and height is also the same. And the analytical property and the identity data of this window is being displayed to be basically. Okay. So maybe if I select these another window and click on type properties, it will show me the type property of that specified window. Okay, and if I select this wall and click on type properties, it will show me the type property of that wall. Now the type property, we can select it and click on edit type also, it will appear the same. Or you can come into the type property dialog box over here and you can do the same thing. So it's the similar method. Only thing is the separate dedicated button is been given in the modify tab, which you can click it and you can change the property or the type property of the object basically. Okay. Just below the type property, we have properties option. Okay, and if I click on properties, you'll see the property dialog box gets hide, and again if I click on it, the property dialog box will appear basically there. So if it gets hide, I can click on it over here, it gets hide, and if I click it, it will come back over here. So through properties we can change its type category, or we can change its property parameter. Maybe we can change the level, the cell height, and all these features basically there. Okay, so that's about the property or the properties dialog box. If it's hidden, you can come over here and on it, or you can come into the view tab, come into user interface and click on properties to check and uncheck to on off the property dialog box basically. So it's there in the modify tab as well, and it's there in the view tab under the user interface as well to change the properties of the objects basically. Okay, come back to modify. So this is slight information about property dialog box. Then we have this clipboard dialog box. So clipboard will enable us to cut, copy, and paste actually. So maybe if I select these walls, right, and I'm gonna just take it up to the terrace level, and I want to copy this walls on the terrace level plan. Okay, so I can select these walls, click on copy to clipboard. So it will copy these walls. Then I can take the paste from clipboard options and I can click on paste from clipboard, or I can go into the align selected level option also. So it will copy and paste it to the selected levels that you want to paste it. So maybe I want to paste it on the terrace level. So I click on OK now. So these walls are being copied and being pasted to the upper level as well. So earlier there was like no walls above this level. Okay, so I can now select all of these walls together, everything. So once all the objects have been selected, you can click on copy to clipboard option. Okay, Control C is the shortcut key for that. And then you can click on the paste from clipboard option. And in that you can take paste from clipboard, or you can take align to selected level. Okay. Now, if I take align to same place, it will overlap on the same place, which I don't want it to do it. So I'm not going to take this option. And align to pick level. So whichever level I pick it, it will, copy paste it in that specific level. I can even take this, or is this one in the same only? In this, I'll get a dialog box of the level. And if I select align to pick level, I won't get any dialog box in this level. Okay, that's the difference basically. So if I take pick align pick levels, I need to click on the level actually. So I might have to click on this level or this level or this level to get it pasted actually basically. And if I take align to selected level, I have to just click on that level name and click on OK. It will align, copy and paste it to that specified level. So that is for copy paste or cutting or match the properties. So maybe if I wanted to match the property of this mullion to this over here, so I can take match property dialog box, click copy and apply to here basically, or this to here. Okay, so we can match property then basically there, or maybe I can match property one of these panel. And so this is yellow curtain panel. I can match it to this panel over here. Okay, or maybe over here. So it will copy paste the same properties to over here. The shortcut key for match property is MA, and then you can select the property that you want to copy. So I'll select this one, this panel, and then I can apply to this panel over here and this panel over here. Okay, so it can match property up basically that. Even I can match property these to this over here, so we can take match property dialog box once again, match property this wall type, and apply to this wall over here. So entirely delete the mullions. That wall type changes basically. That now some of the mullion doesn't goes away, so we need to select them manually and press them delete, okay, to get rid of these mullions, okay, because the height factor changes. Or what you can do, you can select the wall, you can come into the edit type, and you can remove the mullions actually completely. So you can see all the mullions are none. Still there are mullion been added, so we need to have to get rid of them manually. There's no method where you can get it out completely, because we have added this manually, so we might have to remove it manually as well. In the middle there is there, so we can select them, just delete, delete, and delete. Okay, so that's about your options, okay, of patch property, copy, paste, and cut in the clipboards. Then we have these geometry tools are been there. Now, before I go ahead with geometry tool, I'll go into modify tool first, because it's a little complicated to understand right now. So we'll understand the first these modify tools basically there. Now there are various modify tools like align is there, offset is there, mirror is there, split elements are there, pin unpins are there, delete trimmings are there, rotating, copy paste are there. A lot of tools are there. Let's do one by one. Okay, so let me come into one of the level, and first I'll teach you about the align tool. So for this, I'm going to create some wall, one a little bigger, and one a little bit more bigger. Now you can see I've created three different wall lengths actually. Now what I want to do is that the end line of this wall should be parallel to this end line over here basically. So I can use the modify align tool. Okay, the shortcut key for align tool is AL. Okay, so I'll take align tool and I'll select this end line first, because this is the line that I want to align all the other walls to be. So I can take align, and then I can click on this wall and it will get aligned. Similarly, I can do again this line and the second one. So whichever the second pick line, it will get aligned to that. And then I can lock this alignment also. So now this alignment is locked. So what does this will do? If I, now increase the length of this wall, you can see even this wall is getting increased, because this wall alignment was locked and this wall alignment wasn't locked. So if this is not locked, so it is still an independent wall, which means if I change this length of this wall or the direction of this wall, it's not going to affect to these walls. But if again, if I once again align it, and then if I locked it again, basically, so all these three walls are locked to each other. The constraints are locked. So now if I like drag and reduce the length of one wall, all the three length of the wall will also reduce basically. Even if I change the slightly angle, now it tells me, okay, you need to remove the constraint, means you need to remove the alignment basically because this wall is extending and it's not parallel basically. So if I click on remove constraint, now this wall is like not aligned and it's gone at a little different angle also basically. Once again, if I like straighten up basically or try to align it, it's not aligned yet. Okay, so like it's still an independent wall. Okay, so again I can take the align tool and align this line and this line, and then I can lock it. So now once again these walls are being aligned and locked. Even I can again take align tool and align this wall and lock this as well. So all these walls are once again locked, which means if I change the length or anything, all the three walls would be changing basically. Okay, so that's the use of align tool. Okay, now when I take the align tool, there was an option called as multiple align basically there, and it says prefer wall center line as well basically. Okay, so I'll explain you about first with multiple alignment. What does multiple alignment will do? So let me create a wall, multiple walls. Okay, multiple wall एक साथ align करना था. So if you want to do multiple element, if you want to align it all together once, basically there. So what we'll do, we'll take the align tool, and I'll click on multiple align. Now I'll just select one of these line, okay, and then I'm gonna click and click done. So multiply I've aligned it basically there, together only basically there. Okay, so that's called multiple alignment. So that's multiply align all together in once. There was a second option when we take an alignment. There was preferred basically. It says wall center line. Okay, so supposingly if I create a wall and if I create a component, so if I place a component like um, a desk, now I want to align this line to the end of this wall basically. So if I take modify and align to, you can see it's like try to prefers to take the center line first. You can see it's like preferring to take the center line. Okay, I don't want to prefer to take the center line, so I might have to zoom in and take this finish line actually. So maybe I don't want to zoom in, so I can like tell him prefer wall faces. So it will not first snap on the middle line, but it will first snap on the face lines basically. So this line on this line, so I can click on it, and then I can align this one. So you can see now it's aligned according to the faces basically instead of taking the center line basically. So I always prefer to take wall faces instead of center lines. Okay, because otherwise if I take center lines, what will happen? My object will overlap it or go inside the object center basically. Then. So that's why I'm not preferring to take as wall center line in the alignment prefer options basically. Okay, so align tool is clear.
Yes, sir.
Moving ahead with the align tool, we have the next tool that is called offset tool. Okay, just like the AutoCAD, we can offset this wall to a specific distance. So I can take the offset tool and I can provide the offsetting distance. Maybe if I give like 2500 and I can take copy, and if I click on it, you can see it's like gonna get copy. You can see if I don't take copy command, what's gonna happen is like it's gonna move that wall from that specified distance basically. So the copy command was off, so like it moved to 2500 basically. And if I keep a copy command on, so what will happen? The original stays and a duplicate offset gets copy and pasted over there. Okay, at whatever distance you have type in the offsets basically. Okay, now you have two options, numerically or graphically. So if I take graphically, it's nothing is happening basically. There, it's always take it from the center line basically. There, or it prefers to take it like you decide what graphically you wanted to move it basically. So it's we cannot provide the offset distance basically. If I take numerically, I can provide the offset distance and it will offset to that specified distance that I've provided basically. If I take graphically, I might have to select a point and have to give the distance over here. So you can see your distance is coming. So I can type the distance like another 2650 and then press enter. It will distance to 2650 basically. So you can choose whether you want numerically or whether you want graphically basically, whether you want to provide the offset distance. So if you have different offsets, so you can take graphically. So maybe I have sometimes of 1000 and sometimes of 2000 basically. So I can take graphically and then I can tell it, okay, I want to offset this wall from this particularly point. And I can tell it that, okay, sometimes I want of thousands. And once again, click it. Sometimes I want 2000. But if it's of the same distances, basically, then take numerically and you can type it, the distance 2000. And then we can just click, and click to get on the offsets basically. Okay, so that's offset. We have the shortcut keys as well. Like Align tool has a shortcut key called AL, and the offset is OF basically. Okay, so Align tool shortcut key is AL and offset is OF basically. Okay, then next to the offset modify tool, we have the other tool called mirror. Okay, now there are two type of mirror tools being given in Revit. One is mirror dash pick axis, and then you have mirror dash draw axis basically. Can you see? Mirror pick axis, mirror draw axis. Two tools are being provided to you basically. Now I'll explain you what does pick axis do and what does draw axis will do basically. Right, let me create an example for you. And place a component, maybe a table and share. And one share. Right, so we have table and share, and like I want to mirror this component on this side of the room as well basically. Then so I'm going to select this components and going to come into modify and going to take mirror command. Now you have two options, whether you have mirror pick axis and mirror draw axis basically. So if I take mirror pick axis basically, then okay, so I just have to pick the center line basically there, or the center wall. So if I select this center wall, you see it gets mirrored basically. So if I take the vertical center wall, or this vertical wall basically, that it will reflect on the other side. If I'd have selected the horizontal, it would have to reflect it downwards basically. So if I select suppose the horizontal, so if I'm going to take pick axis, shortcut key is double M. If I select this horizontal wall, it's mirrored on the opposite side. Okay, if I select the vertical wall, it's mirrors on the vertical side basically. Okay, so in this case, I just have to pick the center lines or the center walls basically. Now let's assume it that we don't have this center wall, and still I wanted to mirror it on the other side basically. So we don't have a vertical center wall. So in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this component or any of the object. Then we're going to take mirror, and I'm going to take the draw axis. So in draw axis, I'll be drawing the the center line basically, because we don't have a center line object basically there. So I'm going to take draw axis. The shortcut key for draw axis mirror is DM. Okay, and I've already selected, so I just have to draw the center line. Where would be the center line starting? So I can take it from this midpoint, draw a vertical line to this midpoint, and it will mirror it basically. Similarly, if I don't have this wall, this central wall basically. So if there is no center wall, if I even try to take pick axis basically, I don't have something to pick basically that it can mirror basically. So I'll take draw axis, take this center midpoint. I'm going to draw a horizontal center line. Okay, and this line is imaginary line, so it will not be visible. It is just an imaginary or temporary dash line. The moment you pick it, it will disappear and gone. You can see we got it mirrored without having that center wall lines at least basically. So you can mirror the objects. If you don't have the reference line to pick up basically. So if you don't have a reference line to pick up, you can use one of these options of mirror basically, the draw axis options in the mirror. So you have two options in mirror, mirror pick axis and mirror draw axis basically to mirror the objects basically. Okay, so is this clear? Mirror with pick axis and mirror with draw axis.
Yes, sir.
Moving ahead, we have these toolbars like split element. Now there are again two type of split. One is called split element, and the second we have is split with gap. Okay, so you have two type of split when you have split element and you have split with gap. Now, what does this tool do basically? For example, you just extend this wall. Right. Now, if I select this wall, you can see the entirely this wall gets selected basically. Maybe I just wanted to select only this much part of the wall basically. Okay, not this part of the wall. So if I try to select, you can see the entirely the wall gets selected basically here. Right, it doesn't gets the other side of the wall doesn't get selected basically. Okay. Means maybe I want to split it part, not wanted to join it in basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take split element tool. Okay, the shortcut key for split element is SL, and then I'm just going to zoom in, and I can place this cutter right in the part from where I want to cut it. Zoom in, and I'm going to just place it right over here. You can see that cut line, vertical cut line or horizontal cut line, and just cut it from there. And now you see that this portion of the wall is like got separated from this portion of that wall. Okay. Similarly, on this other side as well, if I select, you can see this entirely this wall is getting selected. So once again, we can take split element and zoom in um, up till where we wanted to cut it off basically there. So I'm going to zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, and yeah, here it is. And cut it through there. Once it's been split it up, now select them individually. If you want to reconnect in back, basically, then just drag point and drop it, and it will just reconnect in. Okay, and it will make it as a joint line. So you can just drag it, hover it, and it's been joined back basically. So that's split element. Next to split element, we have split with gap. Okay, so what this will do, it will create a gapping between them. So if I give a gap amount, supposedly I give a gap amount of 50 mm, I just keep a cut line over here. It's going to leave a 50 mm of gap between this space to this space, like 50 mm of gap basically. So supposedly if you have created a full wall, and now you realize that there will be columns coming in between, and column size is suppose is going to be of 200 basically, there like 200 square supposedly. So we can take split element with gap or split with gap and give the column size 200 Just keep the cursor, cut it, and release that gap spaces for that column. And now you can insert columns between that gaps. Okay, so column can come in. Okay, or any other elements maybe you want to have a gap, natural gap basically between the walls, and you can like split it. You can reduce this wall sizes and everything. Okay, they are locked, they are constrained, so we can like unlock it and then reduce the sizes and everything.
So the gap is given like from the center, so like 100 from either side.
And yeah, 100 will go on the left, 100 will go on the right.
Okay.
Find the center line or the center of the column basically there, where exactly the column would be there. Okay, so let's split with gaps. Then you have these constraint tools like unpin, pin, and delete. So these are unpin walls. So like I can select them and I can modify them and I can change the dimension and everything. So if I don't want to edit these walls, I can like select all of these walls and can pin them. So the moment I pin it, get a pin sign. That means now I can now like not select them or not do anything with them. Okay. Now if I want to unpin them, okay, I'm not able to select them to unpin it basically. Okay. So what I'm going to do is over here in the bottom, you can see my cursor. Let me zoom in. The very bottom, you can see the sign is there. Select pin element is there. Just click on that, and now you can select the or you can select the pin items. You can see these are pin items. Now they are able to be selected. Sometimes they are not able to get selected because this is option is on. So like now these walls are pinned. तो अगर ये wall pinned है तो उसको हम लोग select नहीं कर पा रहे. You can see I cannot select the wall because these elements are pinned. They are not able to get selected. So if they are not able to get selected, just click on this option, and now you just select them. So you can see it still shows me pin sign. So I cannot move them, I cannot rotate them, I cannot modify them. So to modify, move, rotate, or anything basically, we need to unpin it. So if I click on unpin, now they are unpinned. Now I can like select them and I can modify its dimensions or its parameters or anything basically. Okay, pinning means fixing, locking the positions and parameter basically. So if the position of this table and chair is perfect and you don't want that it should accidentally get moved or rotate or copied, you can select them and you can click on the pin icon to pin them. So now they won't be moving, they won't be rotating, they won't be mirrored, they won't be copied. Nothing would be happening to these elements basically because they are pin element. The object that are not pinned, they can be like drag and moved basically, or drag and copied, or drag and rotated basically. That they can have the editing parameters also basically. But the objects that are pinned, they will be locked in that positions basically. In many cases, we would lock the element or pin the element basically there so that it doesn't move basically there. So, for example, over here, if the door position is correct and I don't want that it should accidentally get moved, so I can select the door and I can pin it so that it doesn't accidentally moves basically there. Similarly to the windows basically there, we can select them and we can pin them basically so that we don't accidentally move them basically there. Right. Similarly over here as well. And if you wanted to move or edit its parameter, you select the window, you unpin it, and then you change its parameter basically. Maybe the type parameter or maybe its properties, material, whatever you wanted to change inside that basically. Right? Is that clear? Spin and unpin. Then you have this delete tool. I don't know why they have given this tool. So we can use the keyboard delete to get delete the object also, or you can select the object and click on the delete option to get the object get deleted basically. Okay, that's delete tool. Okay. Then you have this tool called scale tool. So if you want to scale an object, okay, so I can scale a wall. Let me just take one of these wall. Take scale tool. Now in scale also you have two options, graphically or numerically. So if I take graphically, I have to select from which base point I want to scale it and what should be the scaling length basically. So currently the scale length is 2400, and if I wanted to stretch it to let's say 3500, I'll just type 3500 and will stretch that object to 3500 basically. So that is about scaling the object using graphically. Now, if I take numerically, okay, so for example, once again, if I select this wall, take the scale tool and take numerically, I have to provide the scale factor. So currently the object is of 3500, and if I wanted to make it supposedly to 7000 basically, the scale factor would be 2. And if I press enter and click up base point, it becomes of 7,000. If I give the scale factor as 3, it would have tripled the time basically. So 3500 into 3 or 3500 into 4. So whatever is the scale factor. So scale factor again, many suppose 5 the array, it would have multiplied by 5. So 3500 multiplied by 5. So the current length of the wall was 3500 and the scale factor was 5. That is the multiplication factor. So that becomes to 17,500. So the length of the wall would have become 17,500 mm basically. Okay, so that's graphically scales basically, and numerically scale in the scale tool basically. So graphically means we will decide the length of that, the stretching length, and numerically means the scale factor, the multiplication factor basically of the scale. Okay, so that's scale command, and the shortcut key for scale is also mentioned. It is RE, the short key for scale. Okay, the short key for split element was SL, and the short key for split element with gap is not been given. So there's no shortcut key for split with gaps. Okay, whichever shortkeys have been given, it's been given with a toolbar in the brackets actually. So you can see next to scale, it is written RE. That is the shortcut key for it. Okay. No need to press even enter. Just press RE, and the tool will activate in cell automatically. Okay. Right. Moving ahead, I'll go with this
But
basic
you
tool
can't
like move.
scale components, can you?
No, we can't scale component because component is being created in a family. Okay, and this is our project basically. So I can only scale the object that have been made in project itself only. Like wall can be scaled. Okay, maybe floor can be scaled because they are made in the same component file basically, or in the same file. If I go into the family editor, for example, if I select this family, you can see this table is there, and click on edit family. And now if I select this part of this component, still this is not scalable because they are constrained. So you can see these are locked, these handles are locked. So if I unlock this handle, I'll be able to use the scale tool basically. Okay. So many of these items are not able to be scaled because some of the items are being locked. Okay. Whichever unlock, we can scale it basically. Okay. So component cannot be scaled because they are assembled objects basically. Okay. Unlikely in AutoCAD, we can scale a block actually, but in Revit, we can't basically because it's a
Okay.
parametric software. So we have to provide the parameters basically if you wanted to scale an object basically. Okay. Right. We go ahead with the next modify tool, that is the move tool. Now this tool is very simple to use. Whichever object you want to move, you just select, take the move tool, and you pick a point basically there. From this point you want to move, and where you want to place it, maybe right over here. You can drag and drop basically. Okay. Now when you take the move tool, you are having these three options like constraint, disjoint, and multiple basically. So right now the constraint is on, which means if I try to move the object, you can see it moves, up and down and left and right. It doesn't move freely. Okay, so if I want to move the object freely, I'll uncheck the constraint, which will allow me, even to move this wall right over here at this endpoint. So I can move the object, object freely if I use uncheck the constraint option basically. But if I again pick the constraint option, it will only allow me to move in the constraining directions basically. That is 90 degree of angles basically. So maybe left and right and top and bottom basically. Okay, so that's constraint. Right. Next to constrain, we were having an option when you take the move tool that was about this joint basically, or this joint basically. Then let me insert maybe a door on this wall, right? And I wanted to move this door from this wall to one of these walls over here. Okay, so when I try to take the move tool and if I try to move this door on this wall, I get an error that, oh, you can't, there's an instance door and it won't be flush to that wall because it is hosted. So door are always hosted to wall elements basically. So even this is a wall, but it's not allowing me because the direction of the wall is different. The direction of this wall is horizontal and this is vertical basically. But still, I want to move this door from this wall to this wall, and it should flip the directions as well, basically. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to select this door and going to take the move tool, and I'm going to take this join command, pick a point, and I'm going to drop it at this wall, maybe on the center line. Okay, now it says, okay, can't place the inserted object on the host, won't be copied basically because again, the direction is the problem basically. So what if I wanted to move this door from this wall to one of these walls basically there. So I'm going to select this door and in the door option, you will have a command called pick new host. Can you see? There's an option called pick new host. Right. And so I'm going to pick new host and click on this wall. Done. So it moves that wall basically. Okay. So disjoin will also do the same thing basically, but it will like disjoin the walls and then it will move it basically. So if it's connected, if the walls are connected, you can disjoin it. If I did not use disjoin, what it would have done, like it should be not disjoining it, it would have moved the wall, but even this would stretch basically. Okay. So it will not separated basically, or not segregated basically. Okay. And for object that are hosted objects like window, they are hosted objects. If I place a window and now it's a different window. And now I realize that this window is supposed to become on this wall. So I can like, select this window, take pick new host and change its host position basically. Right. So for hosted element, it's always pick new host. And if it's connected element, so like this wall is connected element to this wall, so we'll use disjoin command. So it's move and it's disconnects, disjoint. So simple move tool with hidden features are also visible in that. And once again, after move tool, we have copy tool. And that's also very simple. You select the object, take the copy command, and then you can copy the objects. Okay, even in this, you have constraint and multiples. So multiple is on, so I can take multiple copies. And constraint is off. That means it's allowing me to freely copy paste it basically. This is copy within the same level. Okay, and this copy is like you're going to copy from one project to other project. So that is copy to clipboard is from one project to the other project or from one floor to the other floor basically. And this copy means copying into the same level or it copying into the same project basically. So there are two types of copy. One is copy to clipboard and the other one is object copy basically. So copy to clipboard means you want to copy one element from one file to the other file or from one floor to the other floor. And the modify copy means like you want to copy that object within the same level or within the same project basically. Okay. Then next to copy, we have the rotate tool. Okay, so if you wanted to rotate an object, so I can select this object, take the rotate tool, and when I take the rotate tool, you can see I'm getting this pointer which is in the center basically. So if I try to rotate it, it will rotate from the center point basically. Okay, but what if you want to rotate from this corner endpoints basically? So when I select rotate tool, I get this option which is center of rotation, and it is currently placed in the center only. So I can take place command and place it at the very end point over here. And then I can decide this is the 0 degree of action, and then I can rotate it at whatever angle you wanted to rotate it basically. Okay, and you can take copy command also in this, so it will like rotate and copy basically. So the original stays, the duplicate gets copied. So it's very simple to use rotate tool. There was multiple option also in that. So if you want to take multiple copies, you can take multiple copies as well. Right. After the rotate tool, we have this trim and extend tool basically. Now there are three type of trim and extend over here. One is called trim and extend to corners. When you have trim and extend single element, and when you have trim and extend multiple elements. Okay, can you see these three? Right, now trim and extend corners. What does this will do? Like, give you an example, like this wall over here, and I want to like trim the corners basically. Okay, it should get connected basically. So I'm going to take trim extend corner. I'm going to select this vertical wall and this horizontal wall, and you can see like it trim and extend as well. So this wall gets trimmed, this wall get extended, and it connects in the corner basically. So that's called trim extend corners. Okay, that's trim extend corners. Maybe once again I'll just show you another example. Create another wall. I want to connect this wall, so this wall should get extended and get connected in the corner. Even this wall should get extended and connected to the corners. Come into modify, take trim extend to corners. This horizontal wall and this vertical wall, and this horizontal wall and this vertical wall. Okay, that's perfectly trim and extends basically. Right. Then we have the other type of trim and extend, that is for single elements. Now this will do. For example, create some couple of walls. So these three walls, and I want to extend all these walls till this face of this particularly wall over here. Right. So I'm going to come into modify. I'm going to take trim extend single element. So when I take this trim extend single element, first thing is I need to select the face कहाँ तक आपको extend करना है. So I'm going to select this wall, and which element you want to extend, that you need to select second. So I select this one. Okay, now if I try to select this one, it's not getting because it works only single times. And if you want to do multiple times, we'll take trim extend multiple elements basically. So this can be done multiple times basically. So if I want all these three walls to extend all together, okay, so I can take trim extend multiple elements. Again, I'm going to select this wall face first, and I'm going to extend this wall, and this wall, okay, multiple at the same time. So a very useful tool is this trim extend corners, trim extend single elements, and trim extend multiple elements basically. Right, and that completes our modify tools completely. So align tool, offset tool, mirror tools, split elements, move tool, trim and extend. This one tool is left from the modify tool, that is the array tool. And I'll come into array tool as well. Go and take that table and share maybe copies of this. And these are pins, so we cannot delete them also. So unpin it and then press delete. Unpin and maybe I'm going to move it. This content over here. So now I want to copy paste multiple elements. I'm going to select this component and then I can use array tool. Now in array, there are two type of array. One is linear array, and the second type of array is the radial array basically. Okay, so what's the difference between linear array and radial array? Linear array means it will allow it to copy paste it into row and column wise directions, and radial array is for copy pasting in a circular direction wise basically. So I'm going to take linear array this time. I want to copy paste in row and column wise directions. And I'm going to select in array type also, there is two types of it over here. We have second and last option is being given. So if I take second, so this object, I'm going to place it just next to that. Okay. And then I can give the number of copies basically. So like I required only 4 copies. I'm going to type 4 basically. So I just have to place it next to that object basically, and then I can type the number of copies that is required basically. Okay. But if I would have selected last basically, this is okay. Again, array. In array, again I'm going to type linear array, and instead of taking second, if I take last, so I have to place this object to its last distance. That's right over here. Okay, and then I can give the number of copies. Suppose once again 4. Okay, so I have to place it in the last point position and then give the number of copies basically. Now if I give number of copies 5, it will overlap it. So 5 is not possible, 4 is possible basically. Once again, I can select this objects, and once again I can take array and take linear array. Not going to take second, but I'm going to take last, and I can like move this direction right over here, very close to the wall. Actually, and then I can see if I can fit 3 objects. Yeah, 3 rows can fit in easily. Okay, so array is clear. Type of array, linear and radial, and then you have in linear also you have second and last. So this is the method I've used, last option, and this I've used second option basically. You can try both of these. The second type of array was radial array basically. So for radial array, I'm just gonna place one of these component basically there. Do this chair. I'm gonna place one more component, round table maybe if I can find anyone. I'm going to click on load families. Search for family folder. Go into C drive, program data. You can come into Autodesk. Continue to libraries. Take English folder. US. Search for some furnitures. Take tables. Already have the desk. And so table. Okay. 9 table is fine. Pick that. Place it one right object over here. You can select this object. Take the array tool, and this time we're going to take it radial array. It's pointing at position in the center. We need to change its center of rotation. So we'll place it in the center of this component. Then I could like drag it at what angle. You can see I'm taking last, so I can have to drag it up to the last end over here. And you can give the number of copies. Maybe you want 4, maybe you want 5. 5 might not fit in. It overlaps it. So I might have to drag this rotation to 360 degrees. And so now it like tries to fit in. Even I can try and give number of copies can be changed. So instead of 5, we can get 6. Let's try to fit in. If you want 7, you can fit in 7. If you try to fit 8, it might overlap it. So we'll, which is the last distance. It's again still overlapping. So 8 is not possible in that radial, so 7 is possible to fit in without getting obstructed. So this is using the last method basically. What if I would have not used the last method? If I would have used the second method, Control Z, select this chair, use the array tool, gotta take a second, change the center of rotation, another angle, maybe I'm going to give an angle of 30 degrees or 35 degrees. Let's give 30 degrees. Okay, and then it gives the number of copies. Okay, how many copies you wanted to list? Maybe 5 copies. Okay, but this looks they are still all overlapping into one another. So I might have to drag this a little bit distance wise. Okay, so that way to make sure that they evenly fit in. So two type of array, radial and linear array. In that also you have second and last options. So you can try both of that options, right? This is clear. Modify array tools. Right. Then we have these view options basically there. Plenty options in view basically there. So it's like none of these views are workable basically. You can see all are set as gray basically there, except for line work. So line work is something if you want to do some 2D works, if you want to create some 2D lines, you can draw 2D lines basically there on overriding on that objects basically there. So you can see now this wall line becomes dashed lines basically there. So maybe if you want to override this into hidden lines, maybe in case you can override them, you can do line works on it. Override it is in short. Okay. Maybe I can show in hidden lines. I just click it, you can see that entirely that line becomes hidden basically, and that element becomes hidden basically. If I click on the chair, I have to draw it completely because it has a lot of curve and shapes, or might have to reduce the scale. You can see that chair becomes completely hidden lines. Okay, so you can change the graphics of that line work. Okay, of any element that you wanted to change in basically. So it's like if you have created Chajja or anything in the project as well, and you want to show them in hidden lines basically. So for that purpose, it is being not added any Chajja over here. Create sweep element. So already we have given this the subcategory of hidden lines, but if we forgot to give it, supposingly, so here it shows completely in a solid line. But if I look in the plan view also, it doesn't appears that. Okay, now it appears. So it's like it appears in solid line only. So if we wanted to show that in hidden lines, because this shade is above the cut plane, so we can like select them and changes, line works. Come hidden. Okay, so now in 2D, just simply change the line work. But if you come into 3D view, it is still solid lines. Okay, so you can change the graphic overrides of any lines or any walls. Okay, so that's really good to work on. Okay, rest features like hide in view, override graphic in view, selection box, or displacement element, they are not working basically. Okay, so this will be work on if you have selected an object. So I have not selected any object, that's why these are not workable. If I select an object, you can see these tool gets active basically there. So hide in view means if I want to hide an element, that element gets hidden basically there. And if I want to bring it back again, I just click on reveal hidden element, and that element I'll select them, and then I can click on it. Um, Sorry, I'll right click on it and pick unhide view in element, and it will unhide it basically. Close this toggle to off it. Okay, you can temporarily hide it from here as well, hide element or unhide element. Okay, or you can do it from here as well. Okay, again, if I select this element, you have the second option over here, like override its element. So like if I want to change any of these pattern basically there, of this wall, especially for this wall only, so I can override its pattern. Maybe I can give this pattern as concreted wall. Even in the cut pattern, I can take concretes, and I can even change its color of the concrete. Maybe I can give like a dark shade of concrete in the surface, and in the cut pattern, we'll take it completely as a little bit grayish, not much of it. And then we can click on apply, then click on OK. So you can see only for that wall, the pattern is overridden basically. Okay, for that selected element only basically. And if you want to remove that pattern, you can override by the filters, or you can press delete to remove that overriding pattern basically. Okay. Just pressing delete, and that pattern that we override it got removed basically. Okay, and then you have this selection box. Shortcut key for that is BX. Again, if you click on it, you can see it shows me 3D view of that selected element only. So it's like a sectional 3D view. You can drag this arrows to see whichever element you wanted and whichever you don't want it basically. So instead of viewing a complete 3D view, you can view it a sectional 3D view. And once you're done and you want to view the entire project, you can come into properties and uncheck this option called as section box. Uncheck it and apply it, and there will be no section box now. The entirely your 3D view will be visible to you. Right, so that's about views, section box. Now you have other options like displacement element. Now this displacement element, we want to show it an exploded view. So for example, an exploded view of this window and this wall. Okay, so I'm going to select this window and click on displacement element, and then I can displace it. Then I can click on um, path lines to show the path lines. From where it's gonna get displaced basically there. Similarly for this door as well. Displacement element, drag the door out. Then I can show the path lines of the door. Even select these, whatever element you want to displace it, maybe in this curtain walls, this place. Okay, and now these parts are not able to be displaced. because they were created in the same families actually. So not we need to displace that. And anything that is like having multiple elements basically that we can displace it. Maybe this door can be displaced from the curtain wall. Then we can select the displacement element. And then we can click on the path. And okay, so we can show, I'll give you an example for that as well. Sometimes we show that, okay, this is the house and maybe the object, and there are so many floors or so many elements that's going to compile in and gets going to get assembled basically. So we can show displacement element through like this for presentation purposes. So that looks pretty uh, decent to explain on your sheet views basically, something like that. Okay, so that is called displacement element tool in Revit. So we can create these kind of views, 3D views for presentations basically. Okay. Mostly it is used by MEP engineers because we have a lot of components that they wanted to explode it and show it to the fabricators or to the detail explanators basically. Then. Okay. Even architects use them to show the amenities of the building or the number of floors or the number of components that's going to be added into the projects. Okay. Or to show the complexity nature of the views basically. Okay. So that's view tab, and then we have this measure and create tab is also there. Now about this measure and create tab, we'll see this tomorrow. Okay, because this is a little lengthy topic and a very important topic also. In the modify tool, we have this create tab. Okay, it's clear. So we'll keep it till here. Tomorrow we'll continue with these other remaining tools. Basically. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So see you guys tomorrow at 2:30.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.